Ladies and gentlemen, Aaron Dykes here for Infowars.com. Now, you're probably aware of Alex's interview last night on CNN during prime time with Piers Morgan. It's at the top of Twitter feeds. It's all over the internet. It's been covered in hundreds of news outlets, and it caused quite a firestorm. Here's just a few clips from that powerful appearance.
The Second Amendment isn't there for duck hunting. It's there to protect us from tyrannical government and street thugs. Take the women in India. Your piece earlier on CNN I was watching during Anderson Cooper's show didn't tell you that the women of India have signed giant petitions to get firearms because the police can't and won't protect them. The answer is, hey, wait a minute, I have FBI crime statistics that come out a year late, 2011. 20+% crime drop in the last 9 years. Real violent crime, because more guns means less crime. Britain took the guns 15, 16 years ago, tripling of your overall violent crime. True, we have a higher gun violence level, but overall muggings, stabbings, deaths. Look, you got your little note cards. I just gave you FBI statistics that violent crime and gun crime is down over 20%.
Let me just ask you
And
this.
you want to go to little factoids.
No, they're not little
Anybody
factoids.
can pull those up. Listen.
Do you know what...
Do you have a bodyguard?
Alex.
Why do you have bodyguards?
I don't have a bodyguard.
Yeah, I've seen you on the news with them. Don't you want to protect your wife from hoodlums, or you want to call the police?
Let me ask...
Now, this interview has caused its own backlash. They ended that interview early. They were originally going to give Alex a third segment.
Hitler took the guns. Stalin took the guns. Mao took the guns. Fidel Castro took the guns. Hugo Chavez took the guns. And I'm here to tell you, 1776 will commence again if you try to take our firearms. Doesn't matter how many lemmings you get out there on the street begging for them to have their guns taken. We will not relinquish them. Do you understand?
Instead, they just brought on their other guest to help demonize Alex and say that he shouldn't be allowed to own guns.
He's really one of the reasons why I'm so concerned about the lack of gun control in America. He's a man that owns 50 weapons. He has a sort of pathological view about it. He seems unhinged to me.
Today on CNN, every hour, practically on the hour, they've been replaying certain clips of the interview and trying to imply that Alex Jones went, quote, off his rocker, that he's somehow crazy for being passionate in the defense of the Second Amendment. Here's just a few of the things they're saying.
Radio host Alex Jones created the Deport Piers Morgan petition to protest the CNN anchor's anti-gun position. And last night, he brought the crazy in a rambling pro-gun tirade.
Radio host Alex Jones created the Deport Piers Morgan petition and posted it on the White House website. Last night, he kind of went off his rocker, telling Piers that more guns mean less crime.
Jones went completely into rant mode last night. Here's what he said.
And you notice they bring up 9/11 truth to try to do whatever they can to imply that Alex is crazy, even though his points make sense and are part of a logical debate structure, no matter how passionately he's delivered these points.
Alex Jones is a lot of things. He's a 9/11 truther. He's the guy, by the way, that Charlie Sheen first went out and said he drank tiger's blood and so forth on. It's when he got famous.
But what are they doing that for? Here's the second part of what they're saying on CNN, where they argue, here's Alex Jones, he's gone too far. He's on one side of the issue against disarmament. The other side of the issue is these crazy psychotic killers shouldn't be able to get their hands on assault rifles, which is a branded politicized term. And they say we should meet in the middle.
Here's how we go in the gun control debate. Every single time we go from, should we be talking about AR-15 style weapons and how easily you can get them, more easily than you could get a package of Sudafed, to suddenly, we're going to take everyone's guns away. There's a big middle there.
I'm going to say there is a middle, and the middle doesn't necessarily have to be a bad compromise.
Compromise is fine on many issues. Of course, you always have to concede to the other side when they have good points. But ladies and gentlemen, the Second Amendment is different. Shall not be infringed. It's a guaranteed constitutional right. You cannot compromise on principle. You cannot compromise on rights. You can't concede them, because that is allowing them to be eroded away, undermined, and destroyed.
And I think President Obama is talking about taking some very sensible middle ground positions.
Now, here's just a few more clips from the lengthy debate Alex had last night on CNN. Here it is.
Why do people need them?
They need them to protect us from the #1 killer in history. Government in the 20th century, university study out of Hawaii killed 292 million people. It's called democide. Google it, folks.
Tell me why I'm wrong.
Why don't you want to get rid of the drugs? Because they're half your sponsors?
Stick to the subject.
America's #1 cause of unnatural death now is suicide. Okay. I want to get people off pills that the insert says will make you commit suicide and kill people.
Alex, let's get about the second.
I want to blame the real culprit.
Alex.
Suicide pills.
Alex.
Mass murder pills.
Okay.
And if you think Alex went too far talking over Piers and vociferously voicing his point of view, you better keep in mind what Piers Morgan has been doing to other defenders of the Second Amendment during the past several weeks, particularly in the wake of the Sandy Hook shooting. He's been demonizing people like Larry Pratt of gun owners. He's been implying that other defenders of the Second Amendment somehow celebrate the dead children from Sandy Hook, that they don't care about the suffering of people caused by guns. No, they're trying to defend a right, and Piers Morgan is trying to manipulate you through these media techniques of constantly showing the tragedy and implying that he's somehow morally superior when he hasn't got a leg to stand on.
I already said earlier,
talking about
England has a lot lower gun crime rate because you took all the guns.
Let me try exactly
but
my
you've
point.
got hordes of people burning down cities and beating old women's brains out every day.
What a ridiculous
They arrest
statement.
people. You've had to flee here, bud. Why don't you tell folks?
Here.
Yeah, you fled here. Why don't you go back and face the charges for the hacking scandal?
Answer this question. How many
Why'd you get fired from the Daily Mirror for putting out fake stories? You're a hatchet man of the New World Order. Okay. You're a hatchet man. And I want to say this right here. You think you're a tough guy? Have me back with a boxing ring in here, and I'll wear red, white, and blue, and you can wear your Jolly Roger.
Okay.
As we go to a few more clips from Alex on Piers last night, let's be reminded of the words of Barry Goldwater, who said, "Extremism in defense of liberty is no vice." Remember what Jesus Christ did when he went to the temple to protest the bankers. He turned over the tables, caused a complete fit because they were so wrong against the Spirit of God that they were extorting people who were trying to make offerings inside that temple. And likewise, you don't have to be the Son of God to protest against the manipulation and the lies in the mainstream media. I think Alex should be applauded, not demonized, for standing up to Piers Morgan.
You will not take my right. You go through background checks to get guns. How about Prozac? You know the #1. Oh, that's the big sponsor, isn't it? Or that whole class of drugs.
Let me ask you a question.
Oh, whoa, got to cut that off, don't you? Don't want to talk about the U.S. #1 cause of death is suicide now because they give people suicide mass murder pills.
Calm down.
Your answer is give more money to the psychiatrists and psychologists to put more crazy people on drugs that make them kill people, Piers.
Let's try and have a debate here.
Yeah.
Answer me this question.
I'm sick of the same old script here, bud.
It's fine, bud.
It probably won't happen overnight, but we can't let them fudge it and incrementally destroy it either. We must stand firm, put our line in the sand for the Second Amendment, and say no to these voices calling to infringe on a shall not infringe amendment. Aaron Dykes signing off for Infowars.com.